Hi, this is Kiran. In this 13th module of electricity and magnetism, let us discuss about Gauss law applications. In particular, electric field near a linear charge of charge density lambda. What we are going to discuss now, electric field near a linear charge of charge density lambda. Before going to that discussion, let us observe the video carefully. Try to observe it carefully, please. Now, there is a uncharged rod. Let us give some charge to it and try to observe how the electric field lines happens. Try to observe it carefully. Let us give some charge to it. Yes, 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 isn't it? Now here you can observe that all those electric field lines are perpendicular to the rod. Never even a single line is parallel to the rod. Please remember that. Now, adjacent to the rod, consider a point which is r distance away from the charged rod. Yes, there is a charged rod. Of course, we are taking the cross section of that considered rod. Already we have considered a charged rod in the adjacent diagram, but here just we are considering the cross section. Adjacent to that rod, let us consider a random point. Now here our purpose is to find the electric field at the point. Yes, that is what E bar we are supposed to find now. Now to find E along the rod, let us consider a Gaussian cylinder whose length is L and the radius is R. Let us observe the video carefully once again. Consider a Gaussian cylinder of radius R and height L. Yes, the Gaussian cylinder in such a way that it is passing through that point. What for? To apply the Gauss law. To apply the Gauss law. For this Gaussian cylinder, you can observe three surfaces together making the cylinder. There is a top lid, there is a bottom lid, and lateral surface area. There is a top lid, there is a bottom lid, and the lateral surface area. Now here, the total flux we are going to consider now. According to Gauss law, what is total flux passing through an enclosed surface area? That is Q in by epsilon naught. What is Q in? Charge inside the considered enclosed area. Charge inside the considered enclosed area. Now here we have considered the Gaussian cylinder in such a way that it passes through the given point and locks some charge inside it. How much is the charge inside it? How much is the charge inside it? What is the length of that cylinder? I mean, what is the height of that cylinder? L. What is the charge density? Lambda. Then how much is the charge inside the Gaussian cylinder? L lambda. What is lambda here? The charge density. What I mean, charge per unit length. What is the length we are considering? I mean the height of the cylinder, that is L. Then how much is the charge inside the cylinder? That is L lambda. Now the total surface of Gaussian cylinder is responsible for the total flux. But apart from it, Individually, we do discuss about the flux passing through each part of the surface. There is a top lid, there is a bottom lid, there is lateral surface area. Now, flux total, phi total is equals to phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3. Now, phi 1. Let us discuss about phi 1. What I mean, how much is the flux passing through top lid? How much is the flux passing through top lid? Please see the diagram carefully. In which direction the top lid is phased? I mean, in which direction the area vector is? The corresponding area vector is upward in the vertical direction. But according to our discussion now, the electric field lines are horizontal. Electric field lines are horizontal. So, what is the angle between area vector and electric field lines here? That is 90 degrees. Similarly, the bottom lid. Through the bottom lid, is there any electric field lines are passing through? No. Just now we have a conclusion that there is no single line of electric field passing parallel to the charged rod. All the electric field lines are passing perpendicular to the charged rod, isn't it? Now, here also flux passing through that bottom lid is 0. Now, there is lateral surface area. Through that lateral surface area, there are infinitely many lines, electric field lines are passing through it. Now, in this observation, we can find that the total flux is penetrating the lateral surface area. There is no single line of electric field is penetrating the top lid as well as the bottom lid. In the diagram itself, you can observe very carefully. Now, coming to this flux 1, phi 1, flux 1 is equals to, just by applying Gauss law, how much is the flux there? That is circular integral of E bar dot ds bar. E bar dot ds bar. Of what? Of top lid, which is also equals to E bar circular integral of ds bar cos theta. But here, how much is cos theta? Before going to that cos theta, what is theta? Theta is the angle between the area vector and electric field vector. Area vector and electric field vector. Discussing about top lid. See the diagram. Discussing about top lid. In which direction the top lid is facing? In the upward direction. In which direction the electric field is? Horizontal. So, what is the angle between electric field and area vector of top lid? That is 90 degrees. Cos 90. Cos 90 becomes 0. Yes, observing the calculation. Flux 1 is equals to E bar circular integral of ds bar cos 90, that is equals to 0. So by all means, the flux passing through the top lid is 0. Of course, numerically we proved that there is no flux passing through top lid. Similarly, flux 2 through the bottom lid. Flux 2 through the bottom lid is circular integral of E bar ds bar as it is. That is also equals to E bar circular integral of ds bar cos 90. Here also cos 90 we are getting. How? What is the angle between area vector and the field vector. Here in this bottom lid case, the area vector is downward, area vector is vertically downward. The electric field is directed horizontal. Then what is the angle between area vector of bottom lid and electric field? That is 90 degrees. Here also, if you apply that cos 90 value, you will be getting 0 flux. So flux 2 is also 0. Now flux 3, which is passing through lateral surface area, total lateral surface area of the Gaussian cylinder. Flux 3 is equals to circular integral of E bar dot ds bar of lateral surface area, that is equals to E bar circular integral of ds bar cos 0. Why is it 0? What is that 0 degrees? The angle between surface vector, I mean area vector, and electric field vector. Anyway, electric field is horizontal. With respect to lateral surface area, what is the area vector direction? That is also horizontal. Of course, represented in S bar in the diagram at the point, you can see that. Now, they both are in the same direction. Let us observe in the diagram at the point, at the considered point in the diagram, S bar area vector direction is. Similarly, E bar electric field direction is. Then what is the angle between S bar and E bar? That is 0 degrees. So cos 0 is 1. When you replace this 1, you will be getting E bar into 2 pi r into L. Yes. What is this 2 pi r into L? The total lateral surface area. I mean circular integral of ds. In this step of phi 3, flux 3, what is circular integral of ds? The total lateral surface area, that is 2 pi r into L. Why is it so? Observe the video carefully once again. Yes, that is what the lateral surface area, total lateral surface area. To what extent the lateral surface area is extended through the perimeter of that top lid. What is the perimeter of that top lid? 2 pi r. What is the height of that cylinder? L. So area of lateral surface area is 2 pi r into L. Now flux 3 is equals to E bar into 2 pi r into L. 2 pi r into L is total lateral surface area. Applying Gauss law, flux total is equals to flux 1 plus flux 2 plus flux 3. But total flux is equals to what Gauss law says? Total flux passing through enclosed surface area is Qn by epsilon naught. What is Qn? Charge locked inside the Gaussian cylinder. How much is that? L lambda. So here Qn is L lambda. So finally we are getting Qn by epsilon naught is equals to E bar into 2 pi r L. So Qn by epsilon naught is equals to E bar 2 pi r L. Yes, there is a charged rod. Adjacent to that there is a point. At that point, we are going to conclude the electric field now in this calculation. What is that R? The distance from the rod, from the charged rod. I mean, how far that point is. How far that point is R away. At that location, we are going to establish the electric field E bar. Now, what is Q in? Just now we discussed. What is Q in? Lambda L. Lambda L by epsilon naught is equals to E bar 2 pi R L. Simplifying that, E bar is equals to lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught R. Now, here, with respect to a charged rod of charge density lambda, adjacent to that, if you consider a point at a distance r, at that point, how much is the electric field? E bar is equals to lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught r. Please remember it as a note. At that point, how much is the electric field? Where is that point? Adjacent to that charged rod. How far the point is? R away. What is the linear charge density here? Lambda. So now at the given point, the charge is not the charge. At the given point, the electric field is E bar is equals to lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught R. Once again, there is a charged rod of charge density lambda. At a distance r away from it, there is a point, there is a random point. At that point, the electric field is lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught r. Hope you understood well. All the best for your preparation.